The chamber is open and full of whispers.
The marble lobby of Gringotts gleams under enchanted chandeliers. Wizards in robes conduct business at long counters staffed by goblins. The sound of quills scratching parchment, coins clinking, and low conversations fills the air. Harry Potter enters with Rubeus Hagrid. Harry is 11 years old, small for his age, messy black hair, round glasses, wearing Dudley Dursley's oversized cast-offs, jeans bunched at the ankles, a gray t-shirt hanging loose. His eyes are wide, taking in everything. This is his first time in the magical world beyond the leaky cauldron. Hagrid leads him toward a goblin teller. "Right then, Harry, we're here to access your vault. Your parents left you gold. Quite a bit of it." Harry barely hears him. He's staring at the goblin guards flanking the entrance, at the enchanted scales weighing gold automatically, at witches levitating their coin pouches with casual flicks of their wands. Near the far wall, the Granger family waits. Dr. David Granger and Dr. Monica Granger, both muggles, stand nervously beside their daughter. They're dressed in normal clothes, business casual, out of place among the robes. Hermione Granger is also 11, bushy brown hair, brown eyes bright with intelligence and excitement. She holds a book, A History of Magic, by Bathilda Bagshot. She's been reading it obsessively since receiving her Hogwarts letter. Her parents are exchanging muggle money for wizarding currency. A goblin counts out galleons with mechanical precision. Mrs. Granger touches Hermione's shoulder. "Sweetheart, please put the book down for a moment. We need to finalize this transaction." "I'm almost finished with Chapter 7, Hermione says without looking up. "Did you know Gringotts was founded in 1474? The goblins have maintained complete operational independence from the Ministry of Magic for over 500 years. That's remarkable, considering—" Hermione. She closes the book reluctantly, sets it on the marble counter, and that's when it happens. Harry turns to follow Hagrid. His gaze sweeps across the lobby, lands on Hermione. Their eyes meet. For one frozen moment, the world holds its breath. Then the sound begins. Deep, resonant, like the lowest note of a cathedral bell struck with enormous force, the tone builds. Growing louder, more insistent, every bell in Gringotts starts ringing. Ward alarms, vault chimes, security enchantments, all of them activating simultaneously in a cascading harmonic sequence. The marble floor beneath Harry and Hermione's feet begins to glow. Golden light spreads from where they stand, intricate patterns like circuit boards made of pure magic, spreading across the entire lobby. Wizards freeze, goblins stop mid-transaction, everyone turns to stare. The light intensifies, not blinding, beautiful. Like sunrise concentrated into a single point. The glow surrounds Harry and Hermione, rising from the floor to envelop them both. Hagrid stumbles backward. "What in Merlin's name?" The harmonic cascade reaches its peak. Every magical object in the bank vibrates in perfect synchronization. The chandeliers swing, the scales tip wildly. Ink bottles rattle on desks. Then, exactly 11 seconds after it began, the sound stops. The light fades like morning mist burning away. Silence. Absolute. Profound. Harry and Hermione stand in the center of the lobby. Both slightly dazed, both feeling something fundamental has shifted inside them. Grifhook, the goblin who is escorting Hagrid, makes a sound like a strangled gasp. Then he does something no goblin has done for a wizard in living memory. He drops to one knee, his head bows, his long fingers spread flat against the marble floor. He speaks one word in gobbledygook. The language is harsh, guttural, but the tone is reverent. Zangaroth Kai. Within seconds, every goblin in the lobby is genuflecting. Dozens of them, all facing Harry and Hermione. Mrs. Granger makes a frightened sound. "What's happening, Hermione? Come here." "Stay back," a commanding voice cuts through the confusion. A goblin enters from a corridor behind the teller stations. He's ancient, face lined with centuries, wearing ceremonial armor, bronze plates etched with runes, a chain of office around his neck bearing the seal of Gringotts. This is Ragnuk, chief of the Gringotts Council. He walks directly to Harry and Hermione. The crowd parts before him. Ragnuk stops 3 paces away, studies them with black eyes that have seen empires rise and fall. He speaks in heavily accented English. Formal. Archaic. "High sovereigns of the Avalon Compact, the Goblin Nation recognizes your ascension. We have kept the vaults and treaties in trust these 1,000 years. We now return them to their rightful lords. Ragnarok, what are ye? These are children, Harry Potter and a muggle-born girl. There's been some mistake, half-giant. Ragnarok doesn't look away from Harry and Hermione. The sovereign pulse cannot be faked, cannot be triggered by accident. These two carry the blood of Pendragon and Emrys. They are what they are. Harry finds his voice. It comes out steadier than he feels. What does this mean? What are we? Ragnarok's expression softens fractionally. You are the heirs to a throne that predates the ministry, predates Hogwarts itself. You are the rightful rulers of magical Britain. He gestures toward the corridor. Please, follow me. There is much you must know, much you must claim. Hermione's analytical mind is already racing, connecting dots from everything she's read. The Pendragon Compact, Arthur's treaties with the magical beings. You're saying, I am saying, Ragnarok interrupts gently, that you are the first true sovereigns to walk these halls in 941 years. And we have been waiting. Gringotts, private chamber, deep below the bank, 11 a.m. The chamber is ancient, older than the bank above it. The walls are carved from living rock, no bricks, just stone shaped by magic into smooth surfaces. A massive table dominates the center, made of black basalt, inscribed with runes that glow faintly in the dim light. On the table, scrolls, dozens of them. Some are yellowed with age, some are bound in leather. All emanate faint magical signatures. Harry and Hermione sit on one side of the table. Their guardians stand behind them, Hagrid behind Harry, the Grangers behind Hermione, all looking deeply uncomfortable. Ragnarok sits across from them. Two other goblins flank him. One holds a ledger, the other carries a wooden box. Before we proceed, Ragnarok says, you must understand what occurred in the lobby. The sovereign pulse is a magical phenomenon that has not manifested in Britain since the year 1050. It occurs when the bloodlines of Pendragon and Emrys come into proximity after long separation, and when both bearers are of age to claim their inheritance. My parents are dentists. I have no magical ancestry. You believe you are Muggle-born, Ragnarok corrects. But our records, Goblin records which are more comprehensive than wizarding genealogies, tell a different story. The Goblin with the ledger opens it, reads aloud in English, Hermione Jean Granger, born September 19th, 1979, to David and Monica Granger, maternal grandmother, Elizabeth Wilkins, maternal great-grandmother, Hector Dagworth Granger's granddaughter, Margaret Dagworth. Hermione's eyes widen. Hector Dagworth Granger. He was a famous potioneer. I read about him in... He was also, Ragnarok continues, a seventh-generation descendant of Mirden Emrys. You know him by his anglicized name, Merlin. The silence is deafening. Mrs. Granger's voice is faint. That's impossible. We're not magical. Neither of us. Magic can lie dormant for generations, Ragnarok explains. Particularly the Emrys line, which carried powerful but recessive traits. Your daughter's magical awakening at age 11 was not random chance. It was her bloodline reasserting itself. He turns to Harry. And you, Mr. Potter. Your connection is more direct. The Peverell family, your ancestors on your father's side, intermarried with the Pendragon line in the 13th century. Ignotus Peverell's wife was a Pendragon descendant. The blood has passed through the Potters for 700 years. Harry's hand unconsciously touches his lightning bolt scar. My parents, did they know? When Arthur Pendragon disappeared in the year 542, what Muggles call his return to Avalon, the Pendragon line fragmented. Some believed the bloodline extinct. Others knew it survived in hidden branches, waiting. Ragnarok pulls a scroll from the pile, unrolls it carefully. The parchment is ancient, the ink is faded but still legible. At the bottom, 4 signatures, 4 wax seals. The Magica Charta, Ragnarok announces. Signed in the year 520 by Arthur Pendragon, Mirden Emrys and representatives of the Goblin clans, Centaur herds, and Mer kingdoms. The Pendragon line holds sovereign authority over the magical territories of Britain. This authority is recognized by all magical beings who call these lands home. In exchange for protection and just governance, we pledge loyalty and service. This compact is binding upon all signatories and their descendants in perpetuity. Hermione absorbs this. In perpetuity means forever, which means Ragnarok finishes, that when the Ministry of Magic was founded in 1707, it did so without legitimate authority. The Wizards' Council, before it operated under the assumption that the Pendragon line had ended. But assumption is not law. And Goblin law, which predates wizarding law, recognizes blood right above all else. Harry's mind is reeling. So we're what? Kings? Queens? Sovereigns, Ragno corrects. Britain has not had a monarchy in the Muggle sense for centuries. But magical sovereignty is different. It is not merely political authority. It is magical authority. The right to command the very foundations of magic in this land. The goblin with the wooden box steps forward, opens it. Inside, 2 rings. One is gold, set with a ruby carved into the shape of a lion, the Pendragon signet. The other is silver, set with a sapphire carved into the shape of an eagle, the Emry's signet. These rings are more than symbols, Ragnok says. They are magical artifacts. They allow the sovereigns to enforce oaths, to command magical contracts, to impose their will upon the magical framework itself. He pushes the box toward them, but before you claim them, you must understand the weight of what you are accepting. You are 11 years old. The burden of sovereignty is immense. Once you take these rings, your lives change irrevocably. Harry and Hermione look at each other. A conversation passes between them without words. 2 children who have never met before this moment, but who somehow understand each other perfectly. Hermione speaks first. What happens if we refuse? The rings return to the vaults. The compact remains dormant. Magic continues as it has for the past 900 years, governed by institutions that have no true authority, but which hold power through inertia. And if we accept, you claim your inheritance, you gain power beyond anything modern wizards can achieve, but you also gain responsibility, duty, the obligation to serve magic itself, not merely to wield it. Harry's jaw sets, that determined look his mother would have recognized. I've lived with people who treated me like a servant, like something less than human. If I have power, real power, I'm not going to waste it. Hermione nods slowly, and I've spent my whole life being called bossy, being told I'm too smart, too intense, too much. If this is real, if we can actually change things, then refusing would be cowardice. Harry reaches for the gold. The moment their fingers touch the metal, the rings resize, shrinking to fit 11-year-old hands perfectly. And the chamber pulses. Golden light explodes from the rings. Not painful. Warm, like sunlight concentrated. Harry feels it, a connection forming, not just to the ring but to something deeper, beneath the stone, beneath Gringotts, beneath London itself. The ley lines, he can sense them, like underground rivers of pure magic, flowing, converging, branching, a vast network that covers all of Britain. Hermione gasps, she feels it too. The earth itself speaking to her, not in words, in sensations, in knowledge that simply appears in her mind. She knows, suddenly, the exact composition of the stone walls. She can feel the metal in the goblin armor. She can sense every living thing in the bank above them, not their thoughts, but their presence, their life force. The light fades. They sit there, breathing hard, changed. Ragnok bows his head. It is done. You are sovereigns, and the world will never be the same. Gringotts, lobby, 12:30 p.m. Harry and Hermione emerge from the depths. Their guardians trail behind, still processing. Hagrid is muttering to himself, not going to believe a word of it. Mrs. Granger grips her husband's hand tightly. We need to take Hermione home. This is too much. She's 11. Mum, Hermione's voice is different, calmer, more certain. I can't go home. Not in the way you mean. Everything's changed. You're still our daughter. I am. And I love you. But I'm also a sovereign now. That's not something I can just ignore or put off until I'm older. Harry turns to Hagrid. I need to talk to my aunt and uncle. Hagrid blinks. What? Why? Number 4, Privet Drive. 3 p.m., the Dursleys' living room. Immaculate, beige carpet, floral sofa, everything aggressively normal. Vernon Dursley sits in his armchair, face purple with rage. Petunia stands behind him, thin-lipped and trembling. Dudley cowers on the stairs, peeking through the banister. Hagrid looms in the doorway, too large for the space, radiating barely contained anger. Harry stands in the center of the room, wearing the Pendragon signet ring, looking small but unafraid. Ragnok stands beside him, A goblin in a muggle suburban home is surreal enough. A goblin in ceremonial armor is downright alien. Vernon sputters. I don't care what you think you are, what that freak bank says. The boy stays here. We have custody. Legal custody. You have custody granted by muggle courts, which have no jurisdiction over magical matters, and certainly no authority over a sovereign of the magical realm. A freak. We took him in out of charity. You locked me in a cupboard, Harry says quietly. You made me cook your meals. You punished me for things Dudley did. You told me I was worthless. Petunia's face goes white. I'm not angry, Harry continues. I'm here to end this arrangement, formally, legally. He nods to Ragnarok. The goblin pulls a scroll from his robes, unrolls it. The parchment glows faintly. By the authority of the Magica Charta and the rights of sovereign claim, I hereby declare Vernon and Petunia Dursley are removed as guardians of Harry James Potter. All Muggle custody arrangements are void. All obligations are dissolved. Vernon stands. You can't just 1,000 galleons, that's about 5,000 pounds. Enough to replace the cupboard I lived in with a proper guest room. Enough to pay for Dudley's school. Enough to never claim you were cheated. He pulls a small pouch from his pocket, tosses it onto the coffee table. It lands with a heavy thunk. Gold coins visible through the opening. Take it, and understand, I'm never coming back. If you try to contact me, if you try to claim any authority over me, the goblins will enforce magical barriers. You won't be able to reach me. You won't even be able to speak my name without discomfort. Petunia makes a small sound, part relief, part something like grief. Vernon grabs the pouch. Fine. Take your freakishness somewhere else. We're well rid of you. Harry nods once, turns, walks out. He doesn't look back. Hermione's conversation, Granger home, same afternoon. The Granger home is warm. Lived in, bookshelves line the walls, family photos everywhere. Hermione sits on the sofa with her parents. She's been talking for 20 minutes, explaining everything, the pulse, the bloodline, the rings, the responsibility. Mrs. Granger is crying quietly. You're so young, you should be playing with friends. Worrying about school, not ruling magical Britain. I know this is hard, Hermione says. I know you're scared. I'm scared too. But I can't pretend this isn't real. Do you have to leave us? Live somewhere else? Ragnarok says there's a place called Pendragon House. It's in London. Hidden. I could live there. But she hesitates. I don't want to lose you. You're my parents. I love you. Can I visit? Stay some weekends? Write letters? Mrs. Granger pulls her into a tight hug. Of course, sweetheart. You'll always be our daughter. Always. But you have to let me do this, Hermione whispers. I have to try to be what I was born to be. Mr. Granger joins the hug. Then we'll support you. Even if we don't understand it all. Even if it terrifies us, we'll support you. They sit together, a family adjusting to the impossible. Pendragon House, hidden London, evening Pendragon House, exists in a pocket dimension, accessible only through a hidden entrance in a muggle alley off Charing Cross Road. Ragnarok leads Harry and Hermione through the threshold. One moment they're in a dingy alley, the next they're standing before a castle. Not Hogwarts-sized, but still massive. Gray stone walls, towers reaching toward an artificially lit sky. The pocket dimension has its own sun equivalent. Gardens sprawling around the main structure. This is yours, Ragnarok says simply. Built in the year 500 by Arthur Pendragon and Merlin Emeries, maintained by goblin stewards for 15 centuries. Waiting for you. It's been empty for 900 years. Not empty. Preserved. Every room cleaned. Every enchantment maintained. The goblin nation keeps its oaths. They enter through massive oak doors. The great hall within takes their breath away. Vaulted ceiling, tapestries depicting ancient battles, a round table in the center. Not the round table, but a descendant of it. 12 chairs carved from different woods. Hermione runs her hand along the table. This is real. This is actually real. Harry walks to a window, looks out over the gardens. We have 6 weeks until Hogwarts starts. We need to learn everything. Everything? Hermione raises an eyebrow. How to use these powers. How to be what we're supposed to be. The Ministry, Dumbledore, other wizards, they're not going to just accept this. We need to be ready. Hermione joins him at the window. Then we start tomorrow. Research. Practice. Preparation. They stand side by side. 2 11-year-olds who just became rulers of a world they barely understand. but they're not afraid. They're determined, and determination, Harry is beginning to realize, might be the most powerful magic of all. Pendragon House, library next morning. The library is enormous. 3 floors, spiral staircases connecting them. Books covering every wall, not just magical texts, histories, philosophies, sciences, 15 centuries of accumulated knowledge. Hermione moves through the stacks like a woman possessed, pulling volumes, stacking them on tables, cross-referencing. Harry sits with a particularly ancient tome, The Foundations of Leyline Sorcery by Merlin Emrys himself. The text is in Old English, but when Harry focuses, the words shift, become readable, his Pendragon heritage translating automatically. He reads aloud, "Magic exists in 2 forms. The first is internal, the witch or wizard's personal core, channeled through wands. The second is external, the ley lines, rivers of pure magical energy flowing through the earth. Most magicals access only the first. Sovereigns command both. Look." She spreads a massive parchment across the table. It shows Britain, but overlaid with glowing lines, golden threads crisscrossing the island. "The ley line network," she breathes. "There are hundreds of them, but 7 major lines, and they all converge here." She points to Scotland. Hogwarts. Harry studies the map. That's why the founders built the school there. Maximum magical power. Exactly. And if we can learn to tap into these lines, she trails off. The implications are staggering. Harry closes his book. Let's start small. The text says sovereigns can sense the lines, feel them. Can you? Hermione closes her eyes, concentrates. At first, nothing. Then, a pulse, faint, like a heartbeat beneath her feet. Her eyes snap open. Yes, I can feel it. There's a line running directly under this house. Try to touch it, not physically, magically. Hermione kneels, places both hands flat on the stone floor. She reaches out with her mind, her magic, searching for that pulse, and finds it. The connection is like grabbing a live wire. Magic floods into her, not from her own core, but from the earth itself, unlimited, overwhelming. She gasps, pulls back, the connection breaks. But where her hands touch the floor, the stone has changed, smoothed, reshaped slightly. Harry stares. You did that, with leyline magic. I didn't mean to. It just responded. Like it wanted to change, Harry says slowly. This is what sovereign sorcery means. Not just bigger spells, different magic entirely. They spend the next 3 hours experimenting. Harry discovers he can call lightning. Not the stunning spell, actual lightning. Small arcs at first, then larger. By afternoon, he can make electricity dance between his fingertips. Hermione practices earth shaping. She starts with pebbles, reshaping them into different forms. Then bricks, then part of the garden wall. By evening, she can cause stone to ripple like water under her touch. They're exhausted by nightfall, but exhilarated. 6 weeks, Hermione says as they collapse in armchairs by the library fire. We have 6 weeks to master abilities most wizards don't know exist. Then we'll use every day, Harry replies. Outside, the artificial sun sets over Pendragon House. Inside, 2 sovereigns begin their education. Montage, August 1991, 6 weeks of training. The next 6 weeks blur together. Week 1, basics. Harry learns to channel lightning without burning himself. The first few attempts leave scorch marks on his hands. Painful, but not serious. By day 7, the lightning flows smoothly, controlled. Hermione maps every ley line in a 50-mile radius. She creates a 3-dimensional model in the library, threads of golden light suspended in air, showing the network's structure. Beautiful and functional. Week 2, Truth Sight. They discover this ability by accident. Ragnarok visits to check their progress. He tells them about goblin politics. Harry asks a question. Ragnarok's answer feels off. Hermione focuses on him, really looks, and for a moment she sees it. A faint shadow around his words, like smoke. You're lying, she says, surprised. Not maliciously, but that's not the whole truth. Truth sight. Already? He explains sovereigns can see through deception. Lies create visible distortions. Illusions fail. Even Polyjuice potion becomes transparent under sustained scrutiny. They practice on each other, taking turns telling truths and lies, learning to spot the difference. By week's end, they can detect falsehood instantly. Week 3 Life Sense. Hermione discovers this while practicing earth shaping. She's reshaping a garden wall when she feels something else. Movement, warmth, life. A bird nested in the wall. She senses its heartbeat. Its fear as the stone shifts. She stops immediately, carefully creates a new opening for the nest. That evening she tells Harry they experiment. By focusing through the ley lines, they can sense every living thing nearby. Not thoughts, not emotions exactly, but presence, life force, intent. Harry describes it as feeling someone's shape in the dark. You know they're there, you can tell if they're calm or agitated, but you can't read their mind. It's an incredible advantage. They'll always know who's approaching, who's hiding, who's dangerous. Week 4, combat practice. They spar in the gardens, not with wands, with sovereign sorcery. Harry calls lightning, Hermione raises stone walls to block it. He redirects the electricity. She creates pit traps. He leaps using enhanced speed, another discovered ability, channeling ley line energy through muscles for brief bursts of superhuman movement. They're not trying to hurt each other, but they push hard. By the end of week 4, they can fight in perfect synchronization. Harry attacks, Hermione defends, then they switch. A deadly dance. Week 5, the staves. They realize wands feel wrong. Hermione tries to practice a simple levitation charm. Her wand barely responds, like trying to pour the ocean through a straw. We need different tools, she says. Wands are designed to channel personal magic. We're channeling ley line magic. It's too much. Harry remembers something from Merlin's writings. Staves. Ancient sorcerers used staves, not to channel magic, but to focus will. Harry finds an oak tree struck by lightning years ago. Still alive, thriving even. The wood is naturally conductive. He asks the tree for a branch. Asking feels right. Sovereigns don't take without permission. The tree yields. A 5-foot branch detaches cleanly. Hermione locates a rowan tree growing directly above a ley line junction. The roots have absorbed earth magic for decades. She takes a branch. The tree agrees. Back at the house, they carve. Not with knives. With magic, Harry uses lightning to etch runes into the oak. Ancient symbols for authority, protection, justice. Hermione shapes the rowan with earth magic. The wood bends and smooths under her touch. They set crystals at the top. Harry finds a quartz struck by lightning. It holds electrical charge naturally. Hermione uses a perfectly clear diamond. It refracts magical energy. The finished staves are 5 feet tall, topped with crystals, inscribed with their names in runes. When Harry holds his staff, lightning arcs between the wood and the crystal, a circuit of power. When Hermione holds hers, the stone beneath her feet pulses in rhythm with her heartbeat. These are right, Harry says. These fit. Week 6, legal research. The final week isn't about magic. It's about law. They read the Pendragon Compact. Every clause, every provision. They study ministry structure. Who holds what position, how laws are passed. Where corruption might hide. They review Hogwarts governance, the Board of Governors, the headmaster's authority, the house system. Hermione compiles a list. Immediate threats and necessary actions. Top of the list, Lucius Malfoy. He bought his board position through bribes, she says. That's documented in the Goblin records. He's a former Death Eater who claimed Imperius to avoid prison. He represents everything wrong with the current system. Make it clear we're serious. They prepare a formal declaration. Hermione drafts it. Harry reviews. They revise together. By August 31st, they're ready. Ready to claim their authority publicly. Ready to change the wizarding world. Diagon Alley is crowded. Students buying school supplies. Parents arguing about prices, owls hooting from the Elops Owl Emporium. A raised platform has been erected in the square near Gringotts. Stone, solid. Carved with the Pendragon lion and the Emrys eagle. Goblins surrounded. Not hostile, ceremonial. Guards of honor. At 9 a.m. sharp, Harry and Hermione emerge from Gringotts. They're wearing formal robes. Not Hogwarts black. Not house colors. Sovereign blue and gold. The robes are perfectly tailored. Deep blue fabric with gold embroidery. The Pendragon lion on Harry's chest. The Emrys eagle on Hermione's. Harry carries his lightning oak staff. Hermione carries her rowan diamond staff. They're 11 years old, but they move with purpose. Authority the crowd notices. Conversations stop. People turn to stare. Ragnarok steps onto the platform first. His voice magically amplified. Witches and wizards of Britain. The Goblin nation has an announcement of historical significance. The crowd swells. Hundreds now. 11 days ago, the sovereign pulse manifested in Gringotts Bank, a magical phenomenon not witnessed in 941 years. It signaled the return of legitimate magical authority to Britain. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Today, we formally present Harry James Potter, heir to the Pendragon line, and Hermione Jean Granger, heir to the Emery's line, the high sovereigns of magical Britain. Harry and Hermione step onto the platform. Gasps, whispers, confused muttering. A wizard near the front shouts, "That's ridiculous. Potter's just a boy, and the girl's muggle-born." Hermione's voice rings out, clear, confident. "I am muggle-raised, but not muggle-born. My ancestry traces through Hector Dagworth Granger to Merlin Emery's himself. Goblin genealogical records prove it." Harry adds, "And I am Pendragon through the Peverell Potter line. This isn't a claim we're making lightly. We have documentation, magical proof." Ragnarok gestures. Goblins bring forth a table. On it, the ancient scrolls, the Magica Charta, the genealogies. Any witch or wizard who doubts may examine these records, Ragnarok announces. Gringotts stakes its 1,000-year reputation on their authenticity. A witch pushes forward, elderly, sharp-eyed. She examines the documents, casts detection charms, frowns, then nods slowly. These are genuine, pre-ministry. The magic in the parchment is older than Hogwarts. The crowd's mood shifts, skepticism mixed with awe, then a familiar voice, oily, contemptuous. This is a goblin hoax, children playing dress-up with forged documents. Lucius Malfoy pushes through the crowd. Tall, blonde hair, silver-topped cane, every inch the aristocrat. The ministry will not recognize this farce. The Board of Governors will not be intimidated by theatrical displays. Lord Malfoy. Hermione's voice cuts like a blade. Your position on the Hogwarts Board of Governors was granted by ministry appointment in 1723. That appointment was made under authority the ministry does not legally possess. She raises her staff. The diamond atop it glows. We hereby invoke Article 7 of the Pendragon Compact. All positions of authority granted without sovereign approval are subject to immediate review and revocation. Your board seat is void. Your vote is ended. Your influence is removed. The Emery signet ring on her finger flares with silver light. Lucius reaches into his robes, pulls out an ornate scroll, his board appointment certificate. The parchment begins to smoke. He drops it with a yelp. It hits the ground and crumbles to ash. The magical contract binding his position has dissolved. The crowd watches in stunned silence. Lucius's face goes from pale to red. "How dare you? I am a respected member of—" "You are a former Death Eater who bought his freedom with bribes and false testimony," Harry says flatly. "We know you claimed Imperius when you were never under the curse. We know you've used your board position to advance pure-blood supremacy. We know what you are, Malfoy, and we're done pretending otherwise." The Pendragon ring glows gold. Lucius tries to speak, to argue, but his voice catches. The magical weight of sovereign authority presses down on him. Every oath he's ever sworn to serve magical Britain, to act in the best interest of Hogwarts, activates simultaneously. He's violated those oaths. Repeatedly, the magic knows. His knees buckle. He catches himself on his cane. Breathing hard. You'll regret this, he manages. The ministry will. The choice is theirs. But make no mistake. We are not asking permission. We are exercising rights that predate every institution currently claiming power in magical Britain. She looks out at the crowd. This isn't a coup. This is a restoration. For 900 years, Britain has been governed by entities with no legitimate claim to authority. That ends today. A moment of stillness. Then a voice from the crowd. "Prove it. Show us this sovereign magic you claim to have." Harry glances at Hermione. She nods. They don't need to speak. The sovereign bond between them carries intent as clearly as words. Harry plants his staff on the stone platform. Lightning answers. Not from the sky. From the earth. Golden electricity erupts from the ley line running beneath Diagon Alley. It spirals up through Harry's staff, through his body, and arcs into the air above the crowd. The lightning forms shapes, the Pendragon lion, roaring silently, made of pure electrical energy. Hermione taps her staff once. The cobblestones of Diagon Alley ripple, stone flowing like water, reshaping, Rising, a perfect replica of Hogwarts Castle forms in the square, 15 feet tall. Every tower, every wall, every window carved from the existing stone. The crowd stares, silent, awed. Then someone starts clapping. Others join, the applause builds. Not everyone, some look afraid, some angry. But enough to show that belief is beginning. Harry and Hermione let the magic fade. The lightning dissipates. The stone castle remains, a permanent monument. We leave for Hogwarts today, Harry announces. We will attend as students, but we are also sovereigns. We will not pretend otherwise. And we will begin the work of reforming magical Britain, starting with the institutions that have failed their duties. They step down from the platform. The crowd parts before them. Lucius Malfoy stands frozen, humiliated, stripped of power in front of hundreds of witnesses. As Harry and Hermione pass him, Hermione says quietly, "This is mercy, Malfoy. We could have charged you with your crimes, sent you to Azkaban. Instead, we're giving you a chance to be better than your choices. Don't waste it." They walk back into Gringotts. The crowd watches them go. The wizarding world has just changed, and everyone knows it. Somewhere in the crowd, unnoticed, an old man with a long silver beard and half-moon spectacles stands at the edge of the square. Albus Dumbledore has been watching the entire display. His expression is troubled, deeply troubled. He turns and walks away, robes swirling. He has 7 hours before the Hogwarts Express departs. 7 hours to decide how to handle the fact that his carefully laid plans for Harry Potter have just become infinitely more complicated. End of Part 1, 6,007 words. Arrival at Hogwarts Express journey, arrival at Hogwarts, the non-sorting, Dumbledore's first confrontation claiming the Sovereign's wing, and the Halloween troll incident resolution. The Scarlet steam engine sits waiting. Students and parents crowd the platform, trunks being loaded, owls hooting. Tearful goodbyes, Harry and Hermione walk through the barrier together. No guardians with them. They've already said their goodbyes. Brief visits to the Grangers, a final nod to Hagrid. They're self-sufficient now, emancipated under both magical and muggle law. The rings on their fingers prove it. Students notice them immediately. The sovereign robes are impossible to miss. Blue and gold among the sea of casual muggle clothes and black Hogwarts robes. Whispers spread like wildfire. That's Harry Potter, and the Granger girl, the one who claimed to be Merlin's heir. Did you see what they did in Diagon Alley? My dad was there. He said they made lightning out of nothing. Sovereigns. They're calling themselves sovereigns. Ron Weasley stands with his family near the train. 5 older brothers, his mother fussing over everyone, his father looking harried. Ron's eyes widen when he sees Harry and Hermione. Fred, George, look, that's them. Fred, sovereign robes, bold choice. George, think they'll sit with us common folk or demand a royal carriage? Harry overhears, walks directly to them. We'll sit wherever there's space. We're students, same as everyone else. Ron stammers. You're Harry Potter, the Harry Potter, and you're, he looks at Hermione. Sorry, I don't know your name. Hermione Granger. Right. You're the ones who humiliated Malfoy's dad. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Harry's expression softens slightly. Thanks, I'm Harry. Just Harry. Ron Weasley. Ron extends his hand. Harry shakes it. Then Hermione does the same. Mrs. Weasley approaches. Plump, kind-faced, but her eyes are shrewd. Mr. Potter, Miss Granger. I'm Molly Weasley, Ron's mother. I knew your parents, Harry, James and Lily. They were wonderful people. Harry's face shows a flicker of pain. Thank you. I wish I remembered them. And Miss Granger, Hermione, that was quite a display this morning. Is it true? Are you really descended from Merlin Emery's? The Goblin genealogies say so, and the magic recognized the connection. So yes, I believe it's true. Well, you've certainly made an entrance into the wizarding world, both of you. She hesitates. Just be careful. Claiming authority like that, it'll make enemies. But pretending we're not what we are won't keep us safe. It'll just keep us powerless. The warning whistle blows. 5 minutes to departure. Students scramble to board. Harry and Hermione find an empty compartment near the middle of the train. They settle in, Harry by the window, Hermione across from him. Their staves rest in the luggage rack above. The train begins to move. Platform 9 3/4 slides away. Hogwarts Express, compartment, 11:15 a.m. The door slides open. Ron Weasley pokes his head in. Everywhere else is full. Of course, Harry says. Plenty of room. Ron enters, sits next to Harry. He's carrying a rat, fat, scruffy, missing a toe. This is Scabbers, Ron says, my rat. He's useless, really. Used to be my brother Percy's. I wanted an owl, but... He trails off looking embarrassed. Hermione glances at the rat. Something about it bothers her. The way it's looking at them. Too intelligent for a rat. She activates life sense instinctively. Not fully. Just a light touch through the ley lines. The rat's life force is wrong. Too complex. Too large. She files it away. Probably nothing. But worth remembering. Ron pulls out a pack of chocolate frogs. Want one? I've got loads. Harry accepts. Opens it. The frog leaps toward the window. He catches it casually. Ley line enhanced reflexes. The card inside shows Albus Dumbledore. Harry reads aloud. Albus Dumbledore, currently headmaster of Hogwarts, considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times. Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the dark wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work on alchemy with his partner Nicholas Flamel. Ron grins. I've got about 6 of him. You want it? She doesn't trust him. Can't say why exactly. Instinct. Something in the research she did, the way Dumbledore operates. Always working through others. Always keeping secrets. The door slides open again. A girl appears. Bushy brown hair, even bushier than Hermione's. Slightly oversized front teeth. Eager expression. Has anyone seen a toad? A boy named Neville's lost one. They shake their heads. The girl's eyes land on Harry. Widen. You're Harry Potter. I've read all about you. The rise and fall of the dark arts, great wizarding events of the 20th century, famous witches and wizards of the modern era. I'm in books. Harry looks uncomfortable. Of course. You're the boy who lived. You defeated you-know-who when you were a baby. She pauses. Wait, you're also the one who claimed to be a sovereign this morning. I heard my parents talking about it before we left for the station. Not claimed, Hermione corrects gently. We are sovereigns. The Goblin nation verified it. The girl's eyes shift to Hermione. Process. And you're the other one, the Emery's heir. That's incredible. I'm Hermione Granger, by the way. Hermione. Sovereign blinks. You're also Hermione Granger? Well, yes. Though I suppose that's going to be confusing, isn't it? Everyone at school can call me Granger. Or my middle name, Jane. Whichever works. She sits down without being invited. Pulls out a book. Hogwarts, a history. Have you read it? Fascinating. The castle was built over 1,000 years ago by the 4 founders, Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin. They each brought different educational philosophies, which is why the school is divided into 4 houses. Hermione, sovereign nods. I've read it. 3 times. The architectural sections are particularly interesting. The castle was built at the convergence of 7 major ley lines, which explains its unusual magical properties. Granger's face lights up. You know about ley lines? I've only found passing references in most texts. The theory is that they're channels of ambient magical energy, but modern wizarding academia mostly dismisses them as medieval superstition. They're not superstition, Harry says. They're real. We can sense them, channel them. Granger leans forward eagerly. Can you really? Oh, that would explain so much about ancient magic. If the founders understood ley line theory, they could have built the castle to tap into that power source, which would make the protective enchantments far more robust than anything relying solely on wizard-maintained wards. She stops, blushes. Sorry, I'm rambling. I do that when I get excited about a subject. Hermione, sovereign, smiles. Don't apologize. It's nice to talk to someone who actually thinks about magical theory instead of just memorizing spells. Granger has read everything she could find about the wizarding world. Hermione, sovereign, has practical knowledge from her Emery's heritage. The conversation flows naturally. Ron looks slightly overwhelmed. There are 2 Hermiones now, and they're both mental about books. This is going to be a weird year. Harry grins. You have no idea. Hogwarts Express. Continued journey. 2 p.m. The door slams open. No polite knock this time. Draco Malfoy stands in the doorway, flanked by 2 large boys, Crabbe and Goyle, though Harry doesn't know their names yet. Draco's face is carefully controlled, but his eyes betray nervousness. Potter, Granger. He nods to each sovereign, ignores Ron and the other Hermione entirely. I think we should talk, privately. Harry doesn't stand. Anything you need to say, you can say in front of our friends. Friends? Draco's lip curls. A Weasley? They're blood traders, practically muggles, and her. He gestures dismissively at Granger. Actual muggle-born. You're sovereigns. You should be more careful about the company you keep. Hermione, sovereign, sets down her book slowly. Draco Malfoy, son of Lucius. We stripped your father of his board position this morning, publicly humiliated him, and your first act is to walk in here and insult the people we've chosen to associate with? Draco's facade cracks slightly. My father, you had no right. We had every right. We are the right. Your father bought his position through bribery. He's a former Death Eater who escaped justice. Everything about his authority was illegitimate. He served the Dark Lord under Imperius. He was a victim. Harry's eyes narrow. No, he wasn't. Truth sight sees through lies, Malfoy. Your father served Voldemort willingly. Enthusiastically, he enjoyed the power, the cruelty. Don't defend him. Draco goes pale. You can't prove that. But that's not your concern right now. Hermione leans forward. Here's what matters. You're 11 years old. You didn't choose your father. You didn't choose to be born into a family with Death Eater history. But you can choose what you become. She pauses. We saw you at Diagon Alley. Before all this, you were sneering at Muggle-borns, mocking Ron's family for being poor, acting like you were better than everyone because of your name. I am better. Money doesn't make you superior. Character makes you superior. And right now, your character is lacking. Draco's hands clench into fists. You can't talk to me like, we can. We just did. Hermione stands. She's shorter than Draco, but her presence fills the compartment. Here's your choice, Draco. You can continue following your father's path, bullying others, pushing pureblood supremacy, treating people as lesser because they're muggle-born or poor. If you do that, you make yourself our enemy, and we will treat you accordingly. Or, Draco asks through gritted teeth, or you choose to be better. You treat people with basic respect. You judge them by their actions, not their blood. You prove that the Malfoy name can mean something other than bigotry and corruption. You're asking me to betray my family. We're asking you to be your own person. Harry stands as well. Your father made his choices. They led to public humiliation and the loss of his power. You can learn from that, or you can repeat his mistakes. The compartment is silent. Draco's face goes through several expressions. Anger, confusion, something that might be fear. Finally, he turns and leaves. Crabbe and Goyle follow. Ron lets out a breath. Bloody hell. That was intense. You gave him a chance, even after what his father did. That was kind. Hermione, sovereign, sits back down. He's 11, same as us. Everyone deserves at least one chance to choose differently. What if he doesn't take it? Ron asks. Then we'll deal with him accordingly, Harry says. But we had to offer. Hogsmeade Station, 7 p.m. The train pulls into Hogsmeade as the sun sets. Students pour out onto the platform. Furs years over here. He stands head and shoulders above everyone else. Half giant, wild hair and beard. Harry and Hermione approach with the other first years. Hagrid's face breaks into a huge grin when he sees them. Harry, Hermione, good to see ye. Though I suppose I should call ye your majesties now or something? Harry shakes his head. Just Harry, Hagrid, please. Right ya are. Come on then, all of ye. 4 to a boat. Towers silhouetted against the darkening sky. Windows glowing with warm light. Even knowing what they are, even having prepared for this moment, Harry and Hermione catch their breath. Hogwarts, built at the convergence of 7 ley lines, the most magically powerful location in Britain. Through their life sense, they feel it. The castle isn't just stone and mortar. It's alive, semi-sentient, aware. And it's sensing them in return. As their boat approaches the shore, the water beneath them begins to glow faintly, golden light, the ley lines responding to sovereign presence. Other students notice, point, whisper. Granger, sitting in their boat, stares at the glowing water. Is that you? Are you doing that? Not intentionally, Hermione admits. They're welcoming us, I think. Ron, also in their boat, looks nervous. This is normal for you? Glowing water and ancient castles recognizing your bloodline? It's our new normal, Harry says. They dock, climb the steps, Massive oak doors open before them. Professor McGonagall waits in the entrance hall, tall, stern, wearing emerald robes and a pointed hat. Her eyes find Harry and Hermione immediately. Her expression is carefully neutral, but her lips thin slightly. She's displeased, or concerned, or both. "Welcome to Hogwarts," she says formally. "The start of term banquet will begin shortly. But first, you must be sorted into your houses. They are Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin." She continues explaining the house system, points, house cup, triumphs and misbehavior. Harry and Hermione listen politely. But they both know this system is going to change. The houses create division, rivalry that becomes hostility. Slytherin students labeled as dark, Gryffindors as reckless. They'll reform it eventually, but first they need to understand it from the inside. McGonagall finishes her speech. "Follow me." She leads them to the Great Hall's entrance, pauses with her hand on the door. "Mr. Potter, Miss Granger, a word." The other first years file into the hall. Harry and Hermione stay behind. McGonagall looks at them with an expression that might be sympathy. "I was at Diagon Alley this morning. I saw what you did." "What you claimed?" "It's not a claim, Professor," Hermione says quietly. "It's fact. Perhaps, but you must understand, Hogwarts has operated under a certain structure for 1,000 years. Headmaster Dumbledore has authority here. The Board of Governors, despite your intervention with Mr. Malfoy, still has oversight. You may be sovereigns in the wider magical world, but here you are students." Harry meets her eyes. "With respect, Professor, we are sovereigns everywhere, including here. The castle itself was built on land granted by Pendragon authority. The founders established it with our ancestors' blessing. Dumbledore's position is legitimate only because no sovereign has been present to claim ultimate authority." "That sounds very much like you're planning to undermine the headmaster." "Not undermine," Hermione corrects. "We have no desire to disrupt the education process. But we won't pretend we're ordinary students when we're not. And if Dumbledore tries to control us, to manipulate us the way he's known for manipulating others, we will resist." "Manipulate?" McGonagall's voice sharpens. "Albus Dumbledore is the greatest wizard of our age. He has dedicated his life to fighting darkness and protecting students. He also makes decisions for people without their consent," Harry says. "He kept secrets that got people killed. He sacrifices individuals for what he calls the greater good. We've done our research, Professor. We know his history with Grindelwald. We know his philosophy. And we're telling you now we won't be his pawns." McGonagall is silent for a long moment. Then, "You're 11 years old, both of you. And you speak like you've lived lifetimes. We carry the memories of our bloodlines," Hermione says. "Pendragon and Emrys, we're 11, but we're also more than that." "This is going to be complicated." "Yes," Harry agrees, "but it's necessary." The Great Hall, the sorting, 7:30 p.m. The hall is breathtaking. 4 long tables filled with students, floating candles, enchanted ceilings showing the night sky. At the head of the hall, the staff table. Professors in their robes, and in the center seat, Albus Dumbledore, long silver beard, half-moon spectacles, blue eyes that seem to see everything. Those eyes lock onto Harry the moment he enters. Harry doesn't look away, meets the headmaster's gaze steadily. A silent challenge, a statement. "You don't intimidate me." Dumbledore's expression is unreadable. The first years line up at the front. A stool sits before the staff table. On it, a patched frayed wizard's hat. The sorting hat. It opens what might be called a mouth near the brim, and sings a song about the 4 houses: Gryffindor for the brave, Hufflepuff for the loyal, Ravenclaw for the wise, Slytherin for the ambitious. The song is clever, well composed, but Harry and Hermione both sense something else. The hat is magical, deeply magical. It contains enchantments woven by the founders themselves, and it's aware of them. They can feel its attention focusing on them like a spotlight. The song ends, McGonagall unfurls a scroll, begins calling names. Abbott, Hannah. A girl hurries forward. The hat is placed on her head. A pause. Then, Hufflepuff, Boot, Terry, Ravenclaw, Brocklehurst, Mandy, Ravenclaw, Brown, Lavender, Gryffindor. The process continues. Students sorted, houses cheering. Then, Granger, Hermione. Hermione Granger, not the sovereign, walks to the stool, sits. The hat is placed on her head. A long pause, nearly a minute. Then, Gryffindor. Ron's brothers, Fred and George, start a chant, "We got a genius, we got a genius." More names. Longbottom, Neville, the boy who lost his toad, nervous, forgetful. The hat deliberates for a long time. Finally, Gryffindor, Malfoy, Draco. The hat barely touches his head before shouting, "Slytherin!" Draco joins his house table, sits with his back very straight, doesn't look at Harry or Hermione. More students sorted, then Granger, Hermione. The hall goes silent, confused murmurs. Didn't they already sort a Hermione Granger? McGonagall looks flustered. Apologies, I meant Granger, Hermione Jean. She hesitates. The sovereign, her rowan staff is held loosely in one hand. The entire hall watches, students leaning forward, professors alert. She sits. McGonagall places the hat on her head. The moment the hat touches her, it speaks, not in her mind, aloud, for everyone to hear. Ah, a sovereign. I haven't encountered one of you in never. The founders created me, but they themselves were never sorted. The hat continues. Wit beyond measure, I see. Courage that doesn't flinch from hard truths. Loyalty to justice itself. An ambition to reshape the world. You could fit any house, Hermione Granger, but you're not here to fit. You're here to rule. A pause. I cannot sort you. You are beyond houses. You are Hogwarts itself, the ideals of all four founders woven into one person. To place you in a single house would be to diminish what you are. Hermione removes it, stands, walks not to any house table but to the side of the hall. Waiting. The silence is absolute. McGonagall looks at Dumbledore. He nods slightly. She calls the next name. Not Theodore. Slytherin. More sortings. The process continues. But everyone is distracted, watching Hermione standing alone. Finally, Potter, Harry. The hall erupts in whispers. Harry Potter, the boy who lived. The sovereign. Harry walks to the stool, his lightning oak staff in hand, the Pendragon ring gleaming. He sits. The hat is placed on his head. Again, it speaks aloud. Harry Potter, the boy who lived, the boy who became a king. The hat's voice is almost gentle. You carry weight, young sovereign, the weight of your parents' sacrifice, the weight of your bloodline, the weight of what you must become. I see courage, true courage, not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. I see loyalty to those you claim as yours. I see wisdom beyond your years, and I see the ambition to make your power mean something. The hat pauses. Like your partner, you transcend houses. You are Pendragon. You are the blade and the throne. You are what this castle was built to protect and to serve. The hat bows to Harry as it did to Hermione. Harry removes it, stands, joins Hermione at the side of the hall. McGonagall looks shaken, but she continues. More names, more sortings. Weasley, Ronald, Gryffindor. Ron joins his brothers. But he keeps glancing at Harry and Hermione, wondering what comes next. Finally, all the first years are sorted. Harry and Hermione stand alone, unhoused, unsorted. Dumbledore rises. The hall falls silent. Students and staff, he begins. His voice is warm, grandfatherly. We are witnessing something unprecedented this evening. Mr. Potter and Miss Granger have claimed status as High Sovereigns of Magical Britain. The Sorting Hat has acknowledged that they stand beyond our house system. They will attend Hogwarts as students. They will learn alongside you. But they retain their sovereign rights. They are, in a very real sense, guests in their own ancestral home. His eyes find Harry and Hermione. I trust they will conduct themselves with the wisdom and restraint their positions demand. It's a gentle rebuke, a reminder, behave. Don't disrupt my school. Harry speaks, his voice magically amplified, not by a wand, by ley line magic. Headmaster Dumbledore is correct. We're here to learn, to understand modern magical education, to experience what Hogwarts has become. Hermione adds, but we're also here to ensure the school lives up to its founding principles. Justice, knowledge, protection of all students regardless of blood status or house affiliation. Harry continues, we won't interfere with classes. We won't undermine legitimate authority. But we will exercise our sovereign rights when necessary, and we ask that everyone, students and staff, respect that reality. Welcome to Hogwarts, sovereigns. He claps his hands, food appears on the tables, the feast begins. But the tension remains. Everyone knows. The old order is ending. The sovereigns have arrived. After the feast, entrance hall, 9 p.m., students file toward their dormitories. Prefects leading first years, Harry and Hermione, remain in the entrance hall, waiting. McGonagall approaches. Mr. Potter, Miss Granger, we need to arrange accommodations. Since you weren't sorted, you obviously can't stay in house dormitories. I've prepared guest quarters in, but that won't be necessary. We have our own quarters. You, what? She speaks, not aloud, but through the ley lines. A question directed at the castle itself. Where is the sovereign's wing? The castle answers. The stone wall ripples like water. A doorway appears, old, ancient, carved with runes that predate modern English. The door swings open silently. Beyond, a corridor. Torches lighting automatically as the door opens. McGonagall stares. I've taught here for 40 years. I've never seen that door. It's been hidden, Harry explains, waiting for sovereigns to return. This is where Pendragon representatives stayed when visiting Hogwarts in the old days. They step through. McGonagall follows, too shocked to object. The corridor leads to a suite of rooms, a common area with comfortable furniture, a library, 2 separate bedrooms, one marked with the Pendragon lion, one with the Emery's eagle, a balcony overlooking the grounds. Everything is perfectly maintained, clean, as if the castle has been caring for these rooms for 1,000 years. Waiting, Hermione runs her hand along a bookshelf. This is perfect. McGonagall finds her voice. You can't just claim quarters without permission. Professor, Harry says gently, Hogwarts is our castle. These rooms are ours by right. We're not asking permission. We're informing you where we'll be staying. The headmaster can speak with us directly if he has concerns. McGonagall's lips thin. He will. Make no mistake. Harry and Hermione stand in their new home. We've made a statement, Hermione says quietly. Everyone knows now we're not going to follow normal rules. Good. Let them know. Harry walks to the balcony, opens the doors. Cool night air flows in. The grounds spread below. The forbidden forest, the black lake, Hagrid's hut with smoke curling from the chimney. This is where we begin, he says. Tomorrow classes start. We show them what sovereigns can do. Hermione joins him on the balcony. And if Dumbledore tries to stop us, then we remind him we're not his to control. And inside the stones beneath their feet, the ley lines pulse with approval. Hogwarts has its sovereigns back. The sovereigns enter the great hall for breakfast, still wearing their blue and gold robes, staves in hand. The entire hall watches. Conversations stop. 400 students and 40 professors turn to stare. Harry and Hermione walk calmly to nowhere specific. There's no sovereign table. The hat refused to sort them. Hermione makes a decision. We should sit with different houses, learn how each one operates. Gryffindor today? Agreed. They approach the Gryffindor table. Ron, Hermione Granger, and Neville are already seated, eating porridge and toast. Ron's eyes widen. You're sitting with us? Is that a problem? Harry asks mildly. No, of course not. It's just your sovereigns. I thought you'd want to sit at the staff table or something. We're students, Hermione says. Same as you. We just happen to also be rulers of magical Britain. Granger giggles nervously. When you put it like that, it sounds absurd. It is absurd, Harry agrees. But it's also true. They sit, serve themselves food. Normal. Ordinary, except for the stares and the whispers and the way students at other tables keep glancing over. At the staff table, Dumbledore watches, his expression thoughtful. Next to him, Professor Snape looks distinctly unpleased, his black eyes fixed on Harry with something like loathing. Hermione notices. Snape hates you. Harry follows her gaze. Yeah, I saw that last night too. Wonder why. Probably your father, Granger offers. She's already read about Harry's family history. James Potter was famous for being a bit of a bully at school, and Snape was one of his targets, punished for things my dad did before I was born. That's not fair, Neville says quietly. It's the first time he's spoken, you're not responsible for your father's mistakes. Harry glances at him. Neville Longbottom, forgetful, clumsy, clearly lacking confidence. But his words are kind, honest. Thanks, Neville. A barn owl drops the Daily Prophet in front of Harry. He unfolds it. The headline screams, "Boy who lived claims throne. Potter and Granger declare themselves high sovereigns." Ministry refuses to recognize children's authority. Below, a photo. Harry and Hermione on the platform in Diagon Alley, the stone castle replica visible in the background. The article is scathing, calls them delusional, suggests Goblin manipulation, quotes ministry officials dismissing their claims as theatrical nonsense. Hermione reads over his shoulder. They're trying to delegitimize us before we can establish credibility. The ministry won't accept loss of power without a fight. He sets the paper aside. Let them write what they want. We'll prove ourselves through actions, not words. Transfiguration class, 9 a.m. First lesson. Transfiguration with Professor McGonagall. The Gryffindor and Ravenclaw first years file into the classroom. Desks arranged in rows. A cat sits on McGonagall's desk, watching them with intelligent eyes. Ron whispers to Harry, "Where's the professor?" Before Harry can answer, the cat leaps down, transforms mid-air, becomes Professor McGonagall, landing gracefully in human form. The class gasps, applauds. McGonagall's lips quirk in a tiny smile. "Thank you. Transfiguration is some of the most complex and dangerous magic you will learn at Hogwarts. Anyone messing around in my class will leave and not come back." She transforms her desk into a pig and back. Another demonstration. "Today you will transform a match into a needle. Observe the wand movement." She demonstrates. And the incantation, Verto Acus, matches are distributed. Students begin practicing. Most fail completely. Their matches remain stubbornly wooden. Granger manages to make hers silver and pointed. McGonagall awards Ravenclaw 5 points. Ron's match goes soggy. He looks embarrassed. Harry and Hermione haven't moved, haven't touched their matches, haven't even drawn wands. They don't have wands. Just the staves, which rest against their desks. McGonagall notices. Approaches. "Mr. Potter, Miss Granger, why aren't you attempting the exercise?" "We don't use wands, Professor," Hermione explains. "Our magic works differently." "Differently how?" Harry picks up his match. Doesn't touch his staff, just focuses. The match transforms, not into a needle, into a small lightning bolt. Solid. Made of silver. Electricity arcing faintly along its surface. Hermione picks up hers. Concentrates. The match becomes a tiny raven, perfect detail, wings spread. And it moves, flaps, takes flight, circles the classroom once before landing on her desk and becoming a needle. The class stares. McGonagall's expression cycles through shock, fascination, and professional irritation. "That is," she stops, starts again. "Wandless transfiguration, animate transfiguration, at 11 years old. That should be impossible, sovereign sorcery," Hermione says simply. "We channel ley line magic. It doesn't follow the same rules as wand-based casting." McGonagall studies them. "I see. Well, I suppose I should have expected this. 10 points to both of you for exceptional demonstration of advanced magical technique." She returns to the front of the class, but she's clearly rattled. After class, she holds them back. A word. The other students file out. Ron and Granger linger, but McGonagall waves them on. When the room is empty, McGonagall speaks. "What you did today, wandless magic of that complexity. Do you understand how dangerous it is to demonstrate that? Other students will attempt to copy you. They'll fail. They could hurt themselves." "We weren't trying to show off," Harry says, "but we can't pretend to be weaker than we are. That helps no one. Perhaps, but you must be mindful. You're not just students. You're role models, whether you want to be or not." Hermione nods slowly. "We'll be more careful about what we demonstrate in class, but we won't hide our abilities." Potions, 11 a.m., the dungeons are cold, damp. Jars of preserved creatures line the walls. Professor Snape stands at the front, black robes, greasy black hair, expression like curdled milk. He doesn't introduce himself, just stares at the class until everyone falls silent. "You are here to learn the subtle science and exact art of potion making," he begins. His voice is soft, dangerous. "As there is little foolish wand-waving here, many of you will hardly believe this is magic. I can teach you how to bottle fame, brew glory, even stopper death, if you aren't as big a bunch of dunderheads as I usually have to teach." He stalks toward Harry's desk. "Ah, Mr. Potter, our new celebrity. Tell me, what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood, the draught of living death?" a powerful sleeping potion. Where would you look if I needed to find a bezoar? The stomach of a goat. It's a universal antidote to most poisons. What is the difference between monkshood and wolfsbane? They're the same plant, also called aconite. The class is silent. Snape's face shows nothing. It seems fame isn't everything, Potter. You've actually studied. 5 points to Gryffindor. Today you will brew a simple cure for boils. Instructions on the board. Begin. The students work. Harry and Hermione follow the instructions precisely. They could use ley line magic to perfect the potion instantly. But McGonagall's words stick with them. They need to show they can learn. Not just that they have power. Their potion turns the correct pale pink. Wispy steam rising. Snape inspects. His expression sours. Adequate. Barely. No points awarded. But no points deducted either. Neville's cauldron explodes. He added porcupine quills before removing it from the fire. Boils erupt on his skin. Snape sneers. Longbottom, you've managed to melt Finnegan's cauldron. Hospital wing, now. Neville flees, covered in painful boils. Harry's hands clench. That was unnecessarily cruel. After class, Snape holds him back. Again. Potter, a word. The room empties, just the two of them. Snape speaks without preamble. Your father was an arrogant, bullying toe rag. He made my life hell for 7 years. And now I have to teach his son, who apparently thinks he's a king. Harry's voice is calm. I'm not my father, and I'm not here to make your life difficult, Professor. I'm here to learn potions. You're here to show off, to demonstrate your precious sovereign powers? No. Harry's voice hardens. I'm here because potions is important, because understanding magical theory matters, because even sovereigns need to know how to brew antidotes and healing drafts. Snape stares at him, searching for mockery, finding none. We'll see how long that attitude lasts, he says finally. Dismissed. Harry leaves, but the tension between them remains unresolved. Halloween Feast, October 31st, 1991. Evening, the Great Hall is decorated. Floating jack-o'-lanterns, live bats, a festive atmosphere. Harry and Hermione have spent the past 2 months quietly observing, attending classes, learning, building relationships with students. They've sat at all 4 house tables, learning the culture of each house. Gryffindor, brave but sometimes reckless, loyal to their own. Ravenclaw, intelligent but sometimes elitist. Value knowledge above all. Hufflepuff, kind but sometimes overlooked, underestimated. Slytherin, ambitious but poisoned by pure blood supremacy. Draco still avoids them. The feast is in full swing when Professor Quirrell bursts in. Troll, in the dungeons, thought you ought to know. He collapses, faints. Chaos erupts. Students screaming, teachers shouting. Dumbledore's voice booms, "Silence! Prefects, lead your houses back to the dormitories immediately." Harry and Hermione don't move. Through their life sense, they feel it. The troll. Massive, violent. But not in the dungeons. It's moving toward the girls' bathroom on the 2nd floor. And someone is in that bathroom. A student. Terrified, they exchange a glance, no words needed. They slip out of the hall while everyone's focused on Dumbledore's instructions. 2nd floor, girls' bathroom. Moments later, the bathroom door hangs off its hinges, demolished. Inside, a mountain troll, 12 feet tall, gray skin, massive club, tiny vicious eyes, and cowering in the corner. Hermione Granger. She'd been crying in here after Ron made a thoughtless comment about her being a know-it-all. The troll raises its club. Granger screams. Harry and Hermione, sovereign, burst through the doorway. Harry doesn't draw a wand or raise his staff. He extends his hand. Lightning erupts from his palm. Not the stunning spell, real lightning channeled from the ley line running beneath the castle. The bolt strikes the troll's club. Electricity arcs through the creature. It convulses, roars, drops the club. Hermione, sovereign, touches the floor. Stone rises, wraps around the troll's legs, binding it. The creature struggles but can't break free. Harry calls more lightning, not to kill, to incapacitate. The troll's muscles seize. It collapses, unconscious. The entire fight lasts 15 seconds. Granger stares from her corner. You saved me. Hermione, sovereign, hurries to her. Are you hurt? No, I'm fine, just scared. Granger's eyes fill with tears. Thank you so much. Footsteps thunder in the corridor. McGonagall, Snape, and Dumbledore arrive. They stop, stare at the unconscious troll. The stone bindings, the scorch marks from lightning. McGonagall's voice is faint. What happened here? Harry gestures to Granger. She was trapped. The troll was about to kill her. We stopped it. Dumbledore's eyes are sharp behind his spectacles. How did you know she was here? I ordered all students to their dormitories. Life sense, Hermione explains. We felt the troll. We felt someone in danger. We acted. You could have been killed, McGonagall says. Her voice wavers between anger and relief. But we weren't, Harry says calmly. The threat is neutralized. Granger is safe. That's what matters. I felt the surge. The entire castle felt it. Yes, that level of power in the hands of children. We're not just children, Hermione interrupts. We're sovereigns. This is what we do. We protect. Silence. Finally, Dumbledore nods. 5 points will be taken from each of you for being out of bounds. 50 points will be awarded to each of you for sheer dumb luck and exceptional magical ability. But it's acknowledgement. Granger speaks up, voice small. It wasn't luck, Professor. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were magnificent. Let's get you to the hospital wing for a checkup. As they leave, Dumbledore lingers. Harry, Hermione, a word in my office? It's phrased as a request, but it's clearly an order. The sovereigns exchange glances. Of course, Headmaster, Hermione says. They follow him through the castle, toward the confrontation they've been expecting for 2 months. Dumbledore's office, Halloween night, 10 p.m. The spiral staircase rises, gargoyle guardian standing aside without requiring a password. Dumbledore spoke it too quietly for them to hear. The office is circular, walls lined with portraits of former headmasters, silver instruments whirring and spinning. A magnificent phoenix, Fawkes, dozes on his perch. Dumbledore settles behind his desk, gestures to chairs. Please sit. Harry and Hermione remain standing. We're fine, Headmaster, Harry says politely. Dumbledore's eyes twinkle, but there's steel underneath. Very well, lemon drop? No thank you. He sets the candy dish aside, folds his hands. We need to discuss what happened tonight. And, more broadly, your presence at Hogwarts. Our presence? Hermione's tone is carefully neutral. We're students. We attend classes. We follow the school rules where they're reasonable. Where they're reasonable, Dumbledore repeats. An interesting qualifier. Tell me, who determines what's reasonable? You? We're not here to cause chaos, Headmaster, but we're also not here to be controlled. Dumbledore leans back, studies them over his half-moon spectacles. You're 11 years old. Both of you remarkable magical ability, yes. Ancient bloodline, certainly. But you are children, and children, no matter how gifted, need guidance, structure, protection. We've had protection, Hermione says quietly. The Dursleys locked Harry in a cupboard. My parents are wonderful, but they're muggles. They can't teach me magic. We've been protecting ourselves for as long as we can remember. Significant power, which is precisely why you need wisdom to temper it. I've seen what unchecked power does to people, especially people with the best intentions. You're thinking of Grindelwald. Dumbledore's expression shifts, just slightly, old pain surfacing. Yes, Gellert and I were friends once. We believed we were acting for the greater good, that our intelligence and power gave us the right to reshape the world. He pauses. We were wrong, catastrophically wrong. Thousands died because we thought we knew better than everyone else. We're not Grindelwald, Hermione says firmly. And with respect, Headmaster, we're not you either. We're not trying to reshape the world through deception and manipulation. We're exercising legitimate legal authority that predates every institution currently claiming power. Legal authority doesn't prevent corruption, Dumbledore counters. Kings have committed atrocities. Emperors have burned civilizations. Power, no matter how legitimate, corrupts. That's why there are 2 of us. That's the entire point of the sovereign bond. Pendragon and Emrys. Strength and wisdom. We check each other, balance each other. And who checks both of you? Dumbledore's voice is gentle but insistent. Who stops you if you both make the same mistake? The Magica Charta, Hermione answers. We're bound by ancient oaths. We serve magic itself, not our own interests. If we violate those oaths, the magic rebels, the ley lines reject us, we'd lose our power. Convenient, Dumbledore murmurs. But untested, you've held your authority for 2 months. You haven't faced true temptation yet. Harry steps forward. Headmaster, I understand your concern. I do. You've lived over a century, you've fought dark wizards, you've seen power corrupt, but you're asking us to submit to your authority based on your fears, not our actions. We haven't hurt anyone, Hermione adds. We saved a student tonight. We've been respectful to teachers. We've learned alongside our classmates. What exactly have we done to warrant this level of suspicion? Dumbledore is silent for a long moment. Then, you terrify me. But because you're competent, because you have the power to reshape British magical society, and you're willing to use it. And I cannot control you, cannot guide you, cannot protect the world from you if you make the wrong choices. You're not supposed to control us, Harry says. We're not your pieces to move on a chessboard. We're not tools for your greater good. Dumbledore flinches. You've done research on me. You have a history of making decisions for others without their consent. We'd be foolish not to understand who we're dealing with. You're a good man who's made terrible choices in the name of good outcomes. You sacrifice individuals for the collective. You keep secrets that get people killed. You manipulate rather than trust. We don't want to be your enemies, Hermione adds, but we won't be your pawns either. If you can accept that, accept us as equals, not children to be managed, we can work together. These two 11-year-olds who speak with the authority of monarchs. Finally, he sighs. Very well, I accept that I cannot control you. But I ask, not demand, that you consult me before making major changes to Hogwarts or Wizarding Society. Not because I have authority over you, but because I have experience you lack. That's reasonable, Harry says, as long as consultation doesn't become manipulation. Agreed. Hermione adds, and we ask that you stop trying to manage Harry's life. No secret plans, no sacrificing him for the greater good. If Voldemort returns, we face him together, as partners, not as a pawn and a puppet master. Dumbledore's face goes very still. How did you know I had plans, Harry says, and because you're too intelligent not to have considered what happens if Voldemort returns. You've been preparing. We just want to make sure those preparations don't involve my death. They don't, Dumbledore says quietly. Then, more honestly, they didn't. I was exploring options, some of which were unpleasant. Harry is a sovereign. He's protected by ley line magic that predates Voldemort's entire existence. If Tom Riddle returns, we'll handle him, together. I believe you might actually succeed. We will, Harry says. Now, if there's nothing else, we should return to our quarters. It's been a long day. One more thing, Dumbledore says. The Philosopher's Stone. It's currently being protected by enchantments I designed, with help from several professors. If you are truly sovereigns, if the castle recognizes you, those protections would be inadequate. You're worried we'll steal it. I'm worried someone will use you to steal it. Voldemort's spirit still exists somewhere. If he believes two children, even sovereign children, can access the stone, he might target you. If it makes you more comfortable, we can help strengthen the protections. Leyline wards are more robust than standard enchantments. Dumbledore considers. That would be acceptable. We can discuss the details later. Agreed. Good night, Headmaster. They leave. The door closes behind them. Dumbledore sits alone in his office. Fawkes wakes. Trills a questioning note. I don't know, Fawkes, Dumbledore murmurs. I truly don't know if there are salvation or our doom. But I know I cannot stop them. And perhaps that's for the best. The Phoenix sings. A note of hope. December 1991, Charms class, morning. 3 months into first year, Harry and Hermione have established themselves. They attend classes regularly. They're brilliant students, answering questions, completing assignments perfectly. But they don't use wands. They've been improvising, channeling leyline magic directly. It works, but it's inefficient, like trying to drink from a fire hose. Professor Flitwick is teaching the levitation charm. Wingardium Leviosa, Hermione, sovereign, attempts it without a wand. Just focused will. The feather rises, but it rises too fast, shoots toward the ceiling, nearly hits Seamus Finnegan. She catches it with earth magic, lowers it carefully. Flitwick squeaks, Miss Granger, wandless magic is impressive, but control is essential. You could hurt someone. My dear, I must ask, why don't you use a wand? I know you have unconventional abilities, but wands provide structure, precision. They're designed to help channel magic safely. Hermione explains, Professor, when we try to use wands, they feel wrong, like trying to channel an ocean through a straw. The magic we access, the the ley line magic, it's too much for a wand to handle comfortably. Have you considered an alternative focus? In ancient times, sorcerers used staffs. Larger, more capacity. They don't channel magic the same way wands do. They provide a focal point for the caster's will. Harry, waiting nearby, perks up. Staffs, we read about those, but where would we get them? You'd make them, Flitwick says. Wands are purchased because most wizards don't have the skill to craft their own. But sovereigns? With your connection to leyline magic, you could create staffs attuned specifically to your power. That evening, Harry and Hermione research in the library. They find references, ancient texts, descriptions of staff crafting rituals. The process is clear. Find wood from a magically saturated tree, ask permission, respect the natural magic, carve it with intent, using magic, not tools, bind a focusing crystal, inscribe runes of authority. We need to go to the Forbidden Forest, Harry says. Hermione nods. This weekend, when we won't be missed. Saturday morning, Forbidden Forest. They tell no one, simply walk out of the castle at dawn. The forest looms before them. Dark, dense, dangerous. But through their life sense, they feel it. The forest isn't hostile. It's alive. Ancient, aware. Harry places his hand on a tree at the forest's edge. Speaks through the ley lines, we mean no harm. We seek wood for staves. With permission, the forest responds. Not in words, in sensations. A path appears. Not physical, just a sense of direction. An invitation. They follow. Deeper into the forest than any student should go. After 30 minutes, Harry stops there, and scarred by lightning strikes. Multiple strikes over centuries. The wood is blackened in places but alive, thriving. Harry approaches, places both hands on the bark. I need a branch, for a staff, to channel lightning and protect others. Will you give it? The tree shivers. A branch, 5 feet long, perfectly straight, detaches, falls into Harry's hands. The wood is warm, thrumming with stored electrical energy from centuries of lightning strikes. Hermione continues deeper, finds a rowan tree growing directly above a ley line junction. She can feel the earth magic saturating its roots. She asks permission. The rowan yields a branch willingly. They return to the castle, to the Sovereign's wing, to their private workshop. Sovereign's wing workshop. That afternoon, they work for hours. Harry doesn't use knives or carving tools. He uses lightning. Tiny arcs of electricity that etch runes into the oak. Ancient symbols for justice, protection, authority, swift judgment. The wood responds, darkens where the lightning touches. The runes glow faintly gold. Hermione uses earth magic. The rowan bends and smooths under her touch. She doesn't carve, she shapes. The wood flows like clay, forming perfect curves. Runes for wisdom, truth, foundation, eternal knowledge. They set crystals at the top. Harry uses a quartz he found in the Pendragon House vaults. Lightning struck centuries ago. It holds electrical charge naturally. When he binds it to the staff with golden wire, lightning arcs between wood and crystal, a complete circuit, Hermione uses a flawless diamond. It refracts light and magic equally. When bound, the diamond glows with inner fire, earth magic flowing through it. The finished staves are works of art, 5 feet tall, topped with gleaming crystals. Inscribed with glowing runes, Harry grips his. Lightning dances along its length, responding to his will. Hermione holds hers. The floor beneath her feet pulses in sync with her heartbeat. These are right, Harry breathes. These are perfect. We should show them, Hermione says. Make it official. Let everyone see. Monday morning, Great Hall entrance, Harry and Hermione arrive for breakfast carrying the staves. The effect is immediate. Students stare, point, whisper. The staves are impossible to ignore. Beautiful, powerful, radiating magic. They walk to the Gryffindor table. It's Monday, Gryffindor Day. Sit with Ron, Granger, and Neville. Ron's eyes are huge. What are those? Sovereign staves, Harry explains. We made them to focus our magic more precisely. Granger reaches out tentatively. May I? Hermione hands her the rowan staff. Granger touches it, gasps. It's warm, and it's humming. I can feel magic in the wood itself, the lightning arcing gently between crystal and wood. That's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. At the staff table, McGonagall frowns, leans toward Dumbledore. Should we be concerned? Those are clearly powerful artifacts. In the hands of first years, Dumbledore murmurs. Not really. And those staves, I sense old magic, very old. Let's see what they do with them. Defense against the dark arts. That morning, Professor Quirrell stands at the front, nervous, stuttering, the ridiculous purple turban wrapped around his head. Harry and Hermione sense something wrong about him. Their life sense detects a dual signature, as if two beings occupy one body, but they wait, observe, gather evidence. Today's lesson, dealing with basic dark creatures. Quirrell lectures about red caps. Kappas, minor threats. Now, he stammers, does anyone know how to defend against a red cap? Granger's hand shoots up. She recites from Dark Forces, A Guide to Self-Protection. Quirrell nods. Correct. 5 points to R. Ravenclaw. Harry raises his hand. Professor, could we have a practical demonstration? Theory is useful, but seeing a defense in action helps students remember. Quirrell pales. I don't have a red cap available for demonstration. What about the staves? Hermione suggests. We could demonstrate a practical defense using our new tools. Quirrell looks trapped. I suppose. Harry and Hermione stand. Move to the front of the classroom. We'll simulate a red cap attack, Hermione explains to the class. Harry will play the attacker. I'll demonstrate a shield, hand outstretched as if wielding a knife. Hermione taps her staff once on the floor. Stone rises. A wall 3 feet high, solid between her and Harry. The class gasps. Harry vaults over the wall, continues advancing. Hermione taps again. The wall extends, curves, becomes a half-dome, protecting her completely. Harry steps back, grins, and that's a basic earth shield. Takes less than a second to cast. Effective against physical attacks. Now we switch, Hermione says. She advances. Harry raises his staff, doesn't tap it, just channels will through it. Lightning forms a barrier, crackling electricity in a dome around him. Hermione stops, and that's a lightning shield. Different principle. Any physical attack that touches it gets shocked. Very effective. Return to their seats. The class erupts in applause. Quirrell looks ill. Yes, very good. 10 points to both of you. He quickly moves on to the next topic, but his hands shake. After class, as students file out, Quirrell's eyes follow Harry and Hermione, calculating, afraid. May 1992, Philosopher's Stone incident. 4 weeks before end of term, Harry and Hermione have monitored Quirrell carefully, their suspicions confirmed. He's possessed. A parasitic entity shares his body, dark, malevolent, and obsessed with something in the castle. The Philosopher's Stone. They learned about it from Hagrid, accidentally over tea. Confirmed it through research. Nicholas Flamel, immortality. The stone currently protected in Hogwarts, and Quirrell, or rather, the thing possessing him, wants it. One night in early May, their life sense detects Quirrell moving through the castle, alone, heading toward the third-floor corridor where the protections are. Harry and Hermione don't hesitate. They go to Dumbledore. Dumbledore's office, 11 p.m. Headmaster, Hermione says urgently, Quirrell is going after the stone, tonight. We've been tracking him. He's possessed by something dark. We believe it's Voldemort's spirit. Dumbledore goes very still. You're certain? Certain enough that we're not going to wait and find out we were wrong, Harry says. We need to stop him now. I'll go, Dumbledore says. You two remain here. No, Hermione's voice is firm. With respect, Headmaster, the protections around the stone include your enchantments. If you confront Quirrell, you'll be fighting in a space designed around your magic. We can bypass those protections entirely. The castle recognizes us. The wards obey us. Dumbledore hesitates, then nods. Together, then. But you follow my lead. We follow our judgment, Harry counters, which might align with yours, or might not. They descend to the 3rd floor. The corridor is dark, silent. The door to the protected area stands open. Quirrell has already entered. Inside, a series of challenges. Fluffy the 3-headed dog, already asleep. Quirrell brought music. Devil's snare, burned away. Flying keys scattered. Giant chess set, pieces destroyed. Troll unconscious. Potion puzzle solved. They reach the final chamber, a large room, the mirror of Erised at the far end. Quirrell stands before it, staring into its depths. Frustrated, "I see the stone. I see myself presenting it to my master. But how do I get it out?" A voice speaks, high, cold, inhuman, coming from Quirrell but not his voice. "Let me speak to them." Barely formed. Voldemort, or what's left of him, a spirit, a fragment, parasitizing Quirrell. "Harry Potter," the face hisses. "The boy who lived. How convenient. Dumbledore's weapon, come to stop me." "Tom Riddle," Harry says calmly. "I was wondering when we'd meet." The face contorts. "Do not call me by that name. I am Lord Voldemort." "You're a spirit clinging to a professor," Hermione says, "reduced to parasitism because you fragmented your soul. That's pathetic, not lordly." Hand outstretched, trying to grab Harry. Harry doesn't move, just raises his staff. Lightning erupts, not wild, controlled. A surgical strike. The bolt hits not Quirrell's body, but the connection between Quirrell and the parasitic spirit. Voldemort screams. The spiritual bond strains, weakens. Hermione taps her staff on the floor. Stone rises. Not binding Quirrell, binding the spirit. Crystalline stone forms around Voldemort's shade, trapping it, severing it from Quirrell completely. Quirrell collapses, free, gasping. What happened?" "You were possessed," Dumbledore says gently. He's been watching, letting the sovereigns act, for months. "But you're free now, the crystallized spirit." Voldemort, trapped in stone, writhes, screams, but cannot escape. Harry picks it up carefully. The crystal is cold, malevolent. This is a fragment, a piece of a soul. He's made horcruxes. Dumbledore's face goes grave. "You know about horcruxes." "We've researched," Hermione says. "Soul magic, the darkest art, and Voldemort has made multiple. This is just one piece." "How many?" Dumbledore asks. "We don't know yet, but we'll find them, all of them." Harry looks at the trapped spirit, starting with this one. Dumbledore nods slowly. "We have much to discuss, but first, we should get Quirrell to the hospital wing and secure the stone." Hermione approaches the mirror of Erised. She doesn't look into it, just touches it, channeling earth magic. The stone is inside, hidden by enchantment. But the enchantment recognizes sovereign authority. The stone appears in her hand, blood red, gleaming. "We'll hold this," she says, "until we can return it to Nicholas Flamel, or destroy it, whichever is safer." Dumbledore could object, could demand they give it to him. Instead, he nods. "Very well. I trust your judgment." It's the first time he said that, and meant it. Summer 1992, Pendragon House, June. First year is over. Exams were trivial. Harry and Hermione scored perfectly on every OWL level test the professors could throw at them. They spend the summer at Pendragon House. Planning, the Voldemort fragment is secured, locked in a vault beneath the house, surrounded by leyline wards. But they know he's not finished. There are more horcruxes, more pieces of his soul scattered across Britain, and the magical world needs reformation. Badly. "We've seen the corruption," Hermione says. They're in the library, scrolls and documents spread across the table, ministry officials who bought their positions, Death Eaters who escaped justice, a system designed to protect the powerful. Harry nods. "We've been too passive, observing, learning, but it's time to act." "The Sovereign's peace," Hermione says. She's found the reference in the Pendragon Compact. Article 12. In times of corruption or crisis, a sovereign may invoke a 7-day period where all governmental authority is suspended for review, and anyone holding office must submit to verification, Harry continues. Truth site examination, prove they're legitimate or be removed. It's drastic, Hermione warns. It'll make enemies. Every corrupt official will unite against us. Let them, Harry's voice is steel. We're sovereigns. They can't touch us legally, and we're strong enough to survive whatever they try politically. They spend the summer compiling a list, names, positions, evidence of corruption. Lucius Malfoy, already stripped of his board position, but not yet prosecuted for Death Eater activities. Cornelius Fudge, incompetent, easily bribed, dangerously weak. Dolores Umbridge, senior undersecretary, ambitious, cruel. Anti-werewolf legislation drafts found in her files. Dozens more, department heads, Wisengamot members, officials who've held power for decades through bribery and blackmail. By September 1st, they're ready. September 1st, 1992, Hogwarts start-of-term feast. Second year begins. Students return to Hogwarts, excited, nervous, gossiping. The sovereigns arrive wearing their formal robes, blue and gold. Staves in hand, they've grown over the summer, taller, more confident, 12 years old now but carrying themselves like adults. The sorting proceeds normally. New first years sorted into houses. Then Dumbledore stands to make his start-of-term speech. Before he can speak, Harry stands, his voice magically amplified through ley line magic. "Headmaster, if I may, the sovereigns have an announcement." Dumbledore's eyes narrow fractionally, but he nods, sits. Harry and Hermione walk to the front of the hall, stand before the entire school. Hermione speaks. "By the authority of the Magica Charta and the Pendragon Compact, we hereby invoke the sovereign's peace." The Emery signet ring flares silver. For the next 7 days, all ministry appointments are suspended pending review. All Hogwarts board positions are voided and subject to reappointment. All individuals holding office are required to submit to truth site examination or relinquish their positions immediately. Harry continues, "This is not a coup. This is a cleansing. For too long, magical Britain has been governed by the corrupt, the incompetent, and the criminal. We're ending that. Starting now, throughout Britain, magical contracts and oaths of office activate. Anyone who swore to serve magical Britain feels it. A tug, a compulsion, answer the summons or face magical consequences. The Great Hall erupts in confused murmuring. Students whispering, professors looking shocked. Dumbledore stands. "Harry, Hermione, this is unprecedented. You're invoking ancient law that hasn't been used in over a millennium. Because there's been no sovereign to invoke it," Hermione says. "But we're here now, and the corruption ends." September 3rd, 1992. Hogwarts, Great Hall, the trial of Fudge. The Great Hall has been transformed, the house tables pushed to the sides. In the center, 2 thrones. Stone, rising from the floor itself, the castle creating them at the sovereign's command. Harry and Hermione sit, wearing their formal robes, staves resting against the throne arms, rings glowing faintly. Before them, Cornelius Fudge, Minister for Magic, portly, sweating, green bowler hat clutched in trembling hands. Behind him, half the Wizengamot, journalists, witnesses. The entire school watches from the sides of the hall, 2nd years through 7th years. This is a lesson in governance, in justice. Hermione activates Truth Sight. Her eyes glow faintly golden. "Minister Fudge," she says formally, "you have held the position of Minister for Magic since 1990. You were appointed through Wizengamot vote. We will now verify the legitimacy of your appointment and your conduct in office." "This is outrageous. You have no authority to—" "We have absolute authority," Harry interrupts. "This is not a debate. Answer the questions truthfully, and you'll be treated fairly. Lie, and you'll be removed. Understood?" Fudge nods weakly. Hermione asks, "Have you accepted bribes or favors in exchange for political appointments?" "I know, never," Fudge says. A shadow rises around his words, visible to everyone through Truth Sight. "A lie." "That's a lie," Hermione says calmly. "Try again." Fudge's face goes pale. Small favors, donations to my campaign. Not bribes, just standard political contributions." "Names," Harry demands. "Who paid you? For what positions?" Under the weight of Truth Sight and sovereign authority, Fudge breaks. The names pour out. Lucius Malfoy paid for the Buckbeak execution order. Dolores Umbridge gave gifts for her senior undersecretary position. Dozens of smaller bribes for appointments, pardons, favorable rulings. The hall is silent, shocked. When Fudge finishes, Hermione pronounces judgment. "Cornelius Fudge, you are removed from office effective immediately. Your pension is revoked. You are barred from holding public office for life." The ring flares. Fudge's magical signature, the subtle aura denoting official authority, dims and vanishes. He's been stripped at the magical level. He collapses, weeping. "Please, I have a family I need." "You'll receive no special treatment," Harry says. "But you're not being sent to Azkaban. You're simply being removed from power you abused. Consider it mercy. A. Aurors escort Fudge out. He leaves in disgrace. Next, Lucius Malfoy. The trial of Malfoy, same day. Lucius Malfoy enters with his characteristic arrogance. Platinum hair, expensive robes, silver-topped cane. But his hands shake slightly. He knows what's coming. Lucius Malfoy, Hermione begins. You were a Death Eater. You served Lord Voldemort during the First Wizarding War. You claimed Imperious Curse as your defense and escaped Azkaban. We will now verify the truth of that claim. Lucius's face goes white. I was under the Imperious Curse. I had no control. You're lying, Harry says flatly. You served Voldemort willingly, enthusiastically. You tortured muggles. You participated in raids. You enjoyed it. You can't prove. Truth sight proves it, Hermione interrupts. Your own words condemn you. Every denial is shadowed with falsehood. Lucius tries to disappear it. Panic overriding strategy. Hermione taps her staff. Stone rises from the floor, binds his feet. He's trapped. Harry raises his staff. Lightning arcs across the hall, safely above everyone's heads, before striking Lucius. Not to harm, to bind his magic temporarily. You are guilty, Harry declares, of Death Eater activities, of bribery, of using your position to advance pure-blood supremacy and endanger Muggleborns. Your assets are seized. Your family name is stripped of noble status. You will serve time in Azkaban. Please, my son. Draco will be given the opportunity to choose differently than you did, Hermione says. He'll inherit nothing from you, but he can build his own life, free from your corruption. Lucius screams threats as Aurors drag him away. But the judgment stands. The hall watches in awed silence. Justice. Swift, absolute, uncompromising. Over the next 7 days, dozens of officials are examined. Some are cleared, some resign preemptively, some are removed and prosecuted. By September 8th, the Ministry of Magic has been gutted of corruption. The old guard is gone, and the sovereigns have made it clear they're not symbolic rulers. They're active, decisive, and powerful enough to enforce their will. October 1992, Hogwarts. The chamber opens second year. The sovereigns are now established, feared by some, respected by most. The corruption purge made them enemies among the old pure-blood families, but it also earned them loyalty from Muggleborns and progressive wizards. Halloween night. The feast ends. Students file toward dormitories. Then someone screams. On the wall, written in blood, the Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware. Below the message, Mrs. Norris, Filch's cat, petrified, hanging by her tail. Students panic. The Chamber of Secrets. Salazar Slytherin's legend, a monster that kills Muggleborns. Harry and Hermione push through the crowd. They study the message, the cat. Through ley line awareness, they sense it, the disturbance in the castle's magical field, something large, ancient, moving through the pipes. Basilisk, Harry murmurs. Only Hermione hears. She nods fractionally. We need to find the chamber. Before anyone dives, over the next 2 weeks more attacks. Colin Creevey, Muggleborn, petrified. Justin Finch Fletchley, Muggleborn, petrified. Nearly Headless Nick, petrified. The school is terrified. Students accusing Harry, he's a Parselmouth, discovered during a dueling club demonstration. Maybe he's the heir of Slytherin. Harry addresses this publicly at dinner one night. Standing at the Gryffindor table, I am a Parselmouth. I can speak to serpents, but speaking Parseltongue doesn't make me Slytherin's heir. It makes me someone with a rare magical ability. I'm using that ability to find the chamber and stop the attacks. Anyone who has a problem with that can speak to me directly. The accusations stop, but the fear remains. November 1992, finding the chamber, Hermione, sovereign, uses her earth sense, tracks the basilisk's movements through the plumbing. She creates a map, plots every attack location. The pattern becomes clear. All paths lead to a bathroom, second floor, out of order for decades, Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. They investigate. Find the sink with a serpent carving. Harry speaks Parseltongue. Open. Reveals a pipe. The entrance. They don't tell Dumbledore. Don't bring backup. This is sovereign business. They descend, slide down the pipe into darkness. The chamber is vast. Stone serpents line the walls. Ancient runes. Salazar Slytherin's seal everywhere. At the far end, a massive statue. Salazar's face, stern, unforgiving, and coiled before it, the basilisk, 50 feet of serpent, emerald scales, eyes closed, sleeping. Harry speaks, Parseltongue. Awaken. We wish to speak. The basilisk's eyes open. But Harry and Hermione have already closed theirs. They're navigating through earth sense, feeling the basilisk's position through vibrations. The serpent hisses. Who dares enter the chamber? Who speaks the tongue? I am Harry Potter, heir to the Pendragon line. This is Hermione Granger, heir to Emrys. We are the high sovereigns of magical Britain. The basilisk pauses. Sovereigns? There have been no sovereigns since the time of founders. We've returned, and we need to know who commanded you to attack students. A small voice from a book, a diary. It spoke the tongue, commanded me to cleanse the school of mudbloods. That voice lied to you, Hermione says in parcel tongue. The Emrys' heritage grants her the ability as well. Salazar Slytherin placed you here as a guardian, to protect the school, not to murder children. The basilisk's massive head sways. I remember. When the master first spoke to me, he said I was to guard, to protect. But centuries passed, I slept. And when the voice woke me, it said the school was corrupted, that I must kill. You were manipulated, Harry says, by a fragment of a dark wizard named Voldemort. He used Salazar's name to control you. But Salazar is long dead, and his hatred died with him. What would you have me do? The basilisk sounds almost lost. Serve us, Hermione says, as you were meant to serve. Guard the chamber, protect Hogwarts. But harm no students. Swear this oath. The basilisk considers. 1,000-year-old creature weighing the words of two 12-year-olds. Finally, I swear. On my name, Herpo, I will serve the sovereigns. I will guard but not kill. I will protect but not persecute. The oath settles into the magic of the chamber, binding. What is your true name? Harry asks. Herpo, named for the dark wizard who first bred my kind. But I am not dark. I am what my masters make me. Then, from now on, you serve the light, Hermione says. Guard this chamber. If intruders enter with ill intent, restrain them. Call for us through the ley lines. We'll feel it. I will obey, sovereigns. They leave the chamber. Return to the castle proper. The attacks stop immediately. Herpo no longer hunts, but the diary, the source of the commands, is still out there. December 1992. The diary horcrux, Hermione, Granger not sovereign, approaches them one day. Nervous, holding a black leather diary. I found this in my cauldron. At Flourish and Blots, someone must have slipped it in. I thought it was a gift, but it's weird. It talks back when you write in it. And I showed it to Ginny Weasley, Ron's sister, and she's been acting strange ever since. Harry takes the diary. The moment he touches it, his life sense screams. Wrong. Corrupted a soul fragment. Another horcrux, he says quietly. They examine it in the Sovereign's wing. Hermione, Sovereign, writes in it, Who are you? The diary responds in elegant script, My name is Tom Riddle. I'm a memory. Preserved in this diary from 50 years ago. Why are you in this diary? To help. To protect Hogwarts. To finish what was started. Lies. The truth site shows shadows around every word. This is Voldemort, Hermione says. A piece of his soul. From when he was a student, it's been possessing Ginny, using her to open the chamber. But carefully, we need to understand how horcruxes are made so we can find the others. They study the diary for weeks, learning its structure, the dark magic binding the soul fragment. Finally, in January, they perform the extraction, in the Chamber of Secrets, where ley line energy is strongest. They don't use basilisk venom, the canonical method. They use something more powerful, ley line immersion. Harry and Hermione channel the ley lines together, both staves raised, both rings glowing. Pure magical energy floods the chamber, golden light so intense the stones glow. They direct it at the diary, overwhelming the dark magic with sheer purity. The soul fragment screams, an audible wail. The diary writhes, burns. The dark magic can't exist in the presence of such concentrated ley line power. The fragment is expelled, dissipates. Gone, the diary crumbles to ash. 2 horcruxes destroyed, Hermione says. The Quirrell fragment and the diary, however many are left, we'll find them all. Summer 1993, Azkaban prison news reaches Pendragon House. Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban. The Daily Prophet screams, Mass murderer Sirius Black escapes. Country in panic. His godfather, his parents' best friend, accused of betraying them to Voldemort. accused of killing 13 people. He never had a trial, Hermione says. She's researched the records. Barty Crouch Sr. sent him directly to Azkaban under wartime emergency powers. No trial, no evidence presented. Just straight to prison. That's illegal, Harry says, his voice tight with anger. Even during war, even for Death Eaters, everyone deserves a trial. Exactly, which means we don't know if he's actually guilty. Harry's jaw sets. Then we find out. We invoke sovereign authority, we go to Azkaban, we examine every prisoner if we have to, and we free everyone who was imprisoned unjustly. They travel to Azkaban, the fortress on the sea. Surrounded by Dementors, the moment they approach, the Dementors swarm, sensing living souls, preparing to feed. Hermione raises her staff, channels ley line energy, pure earth magic radiates from her. Solid, foundational, the opposite of the Dementors' despair. The Dementors recoil, they cannot touch ley line magic. It's too pure, too vital. Withdraw, Harry commands, his voice carrying sovereign authority. We are here on official business. You will not interfere. The Dementors flee, hovering at a distance but not approaching. Inside Azkaban, hundreds of prisoners, many innocent, many over-sentenced, many driven mad by years of Dementor exposure. Harry and Hermione begin the review, cell by cell, prisoner by prisoner. Truthsight examines each one. Were they guilty? Were they given fair trial? Is their sentence proportionate? Dozens are found innocent, imprisoned on false charges, or with no charges at all. They're freed immediately, told to report to the Ministry for official pardons and compensation. Then, Sirius Black, cell deep in the prison. The man is emaciated, filthy, half-mad. But when Harry approaches, Sirius's gray eyes focus. Harry? You look like James. But your eyes, Lily's eyes, Sirius Black, Harry says formally. You were imprisoned for betraying my parents to Voldemort and for killing Peter Pettigrew and 12 Muggles. You were never tried. Under Truthsight, we will determine your guilt or innocence. Do you consent? Sirius laughs. Broken, bitter. I'm innocent. I've been innocent for 12 years. Ask me anything, please. Hermione activates Truthsight. Did you betray James and Lily Potter to Voldemort? No, never. I loved them. They were my family. Pure truth. No shadows. Did you kill Peter Pettigrew? No. He faked his death. He was the traitor. He's alive, hiding as a rat. Ron Weasley's rat, Scabbers. Truth. Did you kill 12 Muggles? No. Peter blew up the street, killed them, framed me. Truth. Every answer rings clear. True. Honest. You're innocent. Harry breathes. You've been here 12 years. Innocent. Sirius collapses. Weeping. Thank you, thank Merlin, thank you. September 1st, 1993. Hogwarts public exoneration. Start of third year. The Great Hall is packed. Students, professors, press. Harry and Hermione sit in their thrones. The castle has made them permanent fixtures. Sirius Black stands before them. Cleaned up, healed. Still thin but no longer skeletal, wearing respectable robes. The hall whispers, Sirius Black. The mass murderer, why is he here? Hermione speaks, Sirius Black was imprisoned without trial. Under sovereign authority, we conducted Truthsight examination. We will now present our findings. She asks the questions again. Publicly, Sirius answers. Truthsight confirms every word. The hall is silent. Stunned, Sirius Black is innocent, Harry declares. He was imprisoned for crimes he did not commit. We hereby formally pardon him and restore all rights, properties, and titles. Magical recognition, Sirius's status restored at the fundamental level. Furthermore, Hermione continues, we are beginning a full review of Azkaban. Dementors will be removed from the prison. All prisoners will be re-examined. The torture by despair will end. Applause breaks out, not from everyone. Some purebloods look outraged. But enough to show support. Sirius looks at Harry. Thank you. I can't. You're my godfather, Harry says. Your family, of course we'd free you. The hunt for Pettigrew? Same week with Sirius's testimony, they know. Peter Pettigrew is alive, hiding as Ron's rat. They approach Ron privately. Explain. Ron is horrified. Scabbers has been in my family for 12 years. He belonged to Percy before me. You're saying he's He's a person, an animagus, Hermione confirms. Unregistered, hiding. They corner the rat, it tries to flee. Hermione's earth magic traps it, stone cage. They force the transformation. Ron's rat becomes a balding, watery-eyed man. Peter Pettigrew, the traitor. Please, he whimpers, I had no choice. The Dark Lord would have killed me. You had a choice, Harry says coldly. You chose to betray your friends, to frame Sirius, to let him rot in Azkaban while you lived as a pampered pet. Public. Pettigrew confesses everything under magical compulsion. He's sent to Azkaban, to the reformed Azkaban, no Dementors, but unbreakable wards. Justice. Finally, after 12 years. Sirius is free, vindicated. He takes a position at Hogwarts, defense against the dark arts professor. The curse on the position doesn't affect him. Voldemort's curse was tied to the castle's wards. The Sovereigns have overridden those wards. For the first time in decades, Hogwarts has a competent, permanent defense teacher. 5 years later, Harry and Hermione are 17, graduated from Hogwarts with perfect NEWTs. They've spent 5 years systematically reforming magical Britain. The Ministry of Magic has been dissolved. In its place, the High Court of Sorcery, a meritocratic government with elected representatives and sovereign oversight. Azkaban has been abolished, replaced with a secure facility using wards instead of torture. The horcruxes have been found and destroyed. All of them. The ring from the Gaunt Shack, the locket from the cave, the cup from Gringotts, the diadem from the Room of Requirement, Nagini killed during Voldemort's attempted resurrection, which the Sovereigns prevented, and the final horcrux, discovered in 1996, in Harry himself, a fragment created accidentally when Voldemort attacked him as a baby, removed through careful ley line extraction, painful but successful. Tom Riddle is truly, permanently dead. All fragments destroyed. No chance of return. The wizarding world has changed. House elves have been freed. Werewolves receive free wolfsbane potion. Goblins and centaurs have representatives in the government. And today, Harry and Hermione stand at Stonehenge, the most powerful ley line convergence outside Hogwarts. Representatives from every magical nation attend. Goblins present the crown of Pendragon and the Circle of Emrys. The formal coronation, Ragnarok speaks. You have ruled for 7 years, proven your wisdom, your justice, your strength. Today, we formally recognize what has always been true. You are the high sovereigns of magical Britain. The crown is placed on Harry's head, gold and rubies. The circlet on Hermione's, silver and sapphires. They speak in unison. We vow to serve magic, not to be served by it. We vow to protect the innocent, punish the guilty, and build a just society. We are sovereigns, but we are also servants. This is our oath. The ley lines pulse, accepting, binding. The coronation is complete. 10 years later, 2007, Harry and Hermione married in 1999. A private ceremony at Hogwarts. Witnessed by friends. Ron Weasley, now in Aurora. Hermione Granger, now Minister of Magical Education. Neville Longbottom, Herbology Master and Sovereign Guard member. Luna Lovegood, Magazoologist. Draco Malfoy, reformed working in international magical cooperation. They've ruled for 17 years total. The 1,000-year peace they promised is holding. No dark lords, no wars, no corruption, just steady, competent governance, justice, progress. They stand on the balcony of Pendragon House, watching the sunset. Do you ever regret it? Hermione asks. The responsibility, the weight. Harry considers. Sometimes, when I think about what a normal life might have been. But then I remember Sirius, the innocent people we freed, the systems we fixed. And I think we chose right. We used our power well. Hermione leans against him. We did. Together. Always together. They stand in comfortable silence. Two sovereigns who reshaped a world. Who proved that power, wielded with wisdom and partnership, can be a force for good. Behind them, the ley lines pulse. Steady. Eternal. The high sovereigns have kept their promise. And the peace endures. Distant future, Hogwarts, 300 years later. A first-year student sits in the library, reading The Rise of the Sovereigns, a historical analysis. She reads about Harry Potter and Hermione Granger, the two 11-year-olds who met in Gringotts and changed everything. Were they real? She asks the librarian. Or is it legend? The librarian, ancient, kind-faced, smiles. They were real. They ruled for 50 years before stepping back. Trained successors, built institutions that outlasted them. But not for a long time. Leyline magic sustained them beyond normal lifespans. They saw their reforms take root, saw the world they built thrive. I wish I could have met them. You carry their legacy, the librarian says. Every time you stand up for justice, every time you refuse to accept corruption, every time you choose to be better, you're honoring what they built. The student nods, returns to her reading. Outside, the ley lines pulse beneath Hogwarts. The castle stands eternal, and somewhere in the magical fabric of Britain, the memory of two sovereigns endures, not as distant legends, but as the foundation of everything that came after. The High Sovereigns, who cleaned a broken world and built something better. Let us know what you'd like to see next. The end.